Medieval executions were usually brutal affairs. But what happened to György Dózsa in 1514, Hungary stands as perhaps the most elaborately cruel punishment in European history, involving a heated iron throne, a burning crown, and a horrifying twist that shocked even hardened medieval chroniclers.
That's quite a dark opening. What makes this particular execution so noteworthy?
Well, it all started with what was supposed to be a holy crusade against the Ottoman Empire. The Pope and Hungarian church officials appointed Dózsa, a military commander, to lead an army of peasants. We're talking about 40,000 to 100,000 people who joined up. Motivated by both religious fervor and their own frustrations with crushing taxes and feudal obligations.
So how did a papal-sanctioned crusade turn into something that ended so horrifically?
The nobility completely failed to support this massive army they'd helped create. No supplies, no food, nothing. And then they demanded the peasants return to work in the fields during harvest time. You can imagine how well that went over with people who'd just been promised a divine mission.
That sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Exactly right. The crusade quickly transformed into a full-scale rebellion. Dózsa's army, calling themselves the Kuruk, started attacking manor houses and burning castles. They actually managed to capture several important fortresses and even threatened Buda, the capital,
How did the authorities respond to this threat?
with unprecedented brutality. After János Zápolya finally defeated the rebellion, they decided to make such an example of Dózsa that no one would dare rebel again for generations. They constructed an iron throne that they heated until it glowed red hot, stripped him naked, and chained him to it.
That's absolutely horrific. And yet, I sense there's more to this story.
Oh, it gets much worse. They placed a heated iron crown on his head and forced a burning scepter into his hand, a mockery of kingship. According to historical records, Dózsa didn't even scream during this initial torture, trying to maintain his dignity even through unimaginable pain.
The psychological aspect of this punishment seems just as calculated as the physical torture.
Precisely. Before proceeding further, they forced him to watch as they executed his younger brother Gergely by cutting him into 3 pieces. But the most disturbing part involved 9 of his captured followers who they deliberately starved for days.
I'm almost afraid to ask what happened to them.
Using red-hot pliers, they tore pieces of flesh from Dózsa's body and forced these starving men to eat their leader's flesh while he was still alive. 3 or 4 of them actually refused, choosing execution over this horrific act.
That level of loyalty in the face of certain death is remarkable. What happened to those who did comply?
They were supposedly released, though I can't imagine anyone could ever recover from that trauma. After Dózsa finally died, they quartered his body and sent the pieces to different cities across Hungary as a warning.
How did this impact Hungarian society going forward?
The repercussions were massive. The nobility tortured an estimated 70,000 peasants and passed laws condemning the entire peasant class to what they called real and perpetual servitude, a system that lasted until 1848. That's over 3 centuries of oppression directly linked to this event.
It's fascinating how one event could have such long-lasting consequences. How is Dózsa remembered today?
His legacy is deeply divided. During the communist era, he was celebrated as a hero who fought against class oppression. There's even a sculpture called the Throne of Fire in the Hungarian National Gallery. But others still view him as a dangerous revolutionary who threatened social order.
These historical divisions seem particularly relevant to our own times.
Absolutely. And here's something interesting. Even contemporary Europeans were shocked by this execution. We have records from chroniclers expressing horror at the punishment. Even János Zápolya, who ordered the execution, reportedly felt so guilty afterward that he could no longer view the Eucharist at Mass.
That's quite a powerful image. The man who ordered this torture being haunted by it through religious ritual.
And speaking of religious connections, there's a fascinating legend that some monks claim they saw the Virgin Mary's image in Dózsa's ear during his torture, leading some to view him as a Christian martyr. There's now actually a statue of Mary at the execution site in Timisoara.
So this story really touches on everything: power, resistance, religious faith, and how societies process trauma.
Exactly. While the methods may have changed, the underlying dynamics of power, control, and resistance remain surprisingly similar in our world today. It's a dark reminder of humanity's capacity for both cruelty and resilience.